Good morning all of you. From this video we will discuss about another very important unit, that is genetics. This unit consists two chapters: principles of inheritance and variation and a molecular basis of inheritance. So let us discuss principles of inheritance and variations. So before going to discuss about inheritance and variations, what is genetics? What is genetics? It is a branch of biology. It is a branch of biology with the study of inheritance and variations. Inheritance and variations. What is inheritance? So we should know about the definition of inheritance. What is the inheritance? It is the transmission of characters. It is the transmission of characters from parents to their offsprings. From parents to their offsprings, or new organisms, offsprings, progeny, all are the same. New individuals are also called offsprings. The transmission of characters from parents to their offsprings is known as inheritance. Inheritance is also known as heredity. Heredity or inheritance, it means transmission of characters from parents to their offsprings. Here, what is variation? So what is variation? It is the degree of differences. The degree of differences between the progeny or between the parents and progeny. Between the parents and progeny is known as variation. It is the degree of difference. The degree of differences in the progeny or between the progeny and parents is known as variations. Here the term genetics was given by Bateson. The term genetics was given by Bateson. That's why our agriculturists knew about sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction contain variations, or variations are hidden in sexual reproduction. That's why our early agriculturists, they are successfully domesticated large number of domesticated varieties. For example, chicken. So chicken is domesticated from the ancestral fowl. Then one more example, that is Indian cow. So that is also known as Sahiwal cow. Sahiwal cow of Punjab. It is domesticated from the wild cow. So these are the some of the examples, and these varieties or these progenies are possible due to variations. Then our early agriculturists, they knew the variations hidden in the sexual reproduction. So in this chapter we will mainly discuss about what is inheritance and what are variations. But before going to discuss inheritance and variations, we must know about some important terms which are related to this chapter, that is principles of inheritance and variation. So genetics, it is a unit. This unit consists two chapters. The first chapter is, chapter 1 is principles of inheritance and variations. So let us discuss some important terms which are useful in this chapter. So there are some important terms. The first one is trait. So what is trait? It is an inherited character. It is an inherited character. So all of you familiar about Mendelian experiments like monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross. Already you know in the class 10 monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. So Mendel, Krieger John Mendel was the father of genetics. And here some of the characters are transmitted from parents to offsprings. that particular inherited character is known as trait, such as tallness, or tall character, or dwarf character. So dwarfness or tallness. Tall plants, some of the plants are very tall and some of the plants are very dwarf. And this character, height of the stem, some of the stems are tall and some of the stems are dwarf. But they are transmitted from one generation to the next. So such characters, such inherited characters are known as trait. So it is very important. What is trait? It is an inherited character such as tall or dwarf. And second important term is unit factor. And this term is usually used by Mendel, and it is the unit of inheritance. It is the unit of inheritance. It is the unit of inheritance which control the trait of character singly in case of haploid, or it control the trait of character along with another character in case of diploid. So what is haploid and diploid? Haploid, if a single set of chromosomes present, in a cell, then it is known as haploid. If two sets of chromosomes, then haploid set of chromosomes represent as N. If two sets of chromosomes present in a cell, then it is known as diploid. If it is haploid condition, then the unit factor controls only one trait. If it is diploid condition, then unit factor controls two traits or one trait along with another trait. So what is unit factor? It is the unit of inheritance. This term was used by Mendel. One more important term, that is gene. So it is also unit of inheritance. Unit of inheritance is called gene by Johansen in 1909. So what is gene? It is also unit of inheritance. Actually, the term unit factor was used by Mendel, but nowadays the term gene is used instead of unit factor. So what is gene? That is the basic unit of inheritance. What is inheritance? It is the transmission of characters from parents to their offsprings. But the term unit factor was used by Mendel, but the term gene was used by Johansen. And chemically, gene is a segment of DNA. Chemically, gene is a segment of DNA. So segment of DNA is also known as cistron. Then one cistron is responsible for production of one polypeptide. One cistron is required, or one cistron is responsible for the production of one polypeptide. So this is another important. Next one is alleles. So they are also called allelomorphs. They are also known as allelomorphs. So what is alleles? They are the same forms. They are the same forms of chromosomes. They are the same forms of genes which are present on same place or same locus on homologous chromosomes. Homologous chromosomes. What are alleles? They are the same forms of a gene which are found on same place or same locus on homologous chromosomes. For example, capital T and capital T, they are homozygous tall. Or small t and small t, they are homozygous dwarf. Or capital T and small t, they are heterozygous tall. So these are the two forms. So this is a gene. So gene has two alternate forms, and these forms are known as alleles. This is one allele and this is another allele. Here in this case also same. So these are the alleles. What are the alleles? They are the same or different forms. They are the same or different forms of chromosomes which are present on same locus on homologous chromosomes. The term alleles are also given by Bateson. The term genetics, alleles, homozygous, heterozygous, F1, F2, all these terms were given by Bateson. So this is alleles. What are alleles? They are the same or alternate forms of gene which are found on same place or same locus on homologous chromosomes. What are homologous chromosomes? They are the similar chromosomes which are obtained from two different parents. And next term is homozygous. Next term is homozygous. So what is homozygous? It is an individual which contain identical alleles. Which contain identical alleles. Like capital T, capital T. It is homozygous tall. Homozygous tall. Then small t and small t. It is like homozygous dwarf. Means here the homozygosity, it is the pure. It is pure for character or it is the factor. The pureness, or it is also known as pure lines. The pure character, there is no any hybrid character in that particular organism. If the pure character is present, if pure tall or pure dark, then the organism is known as homozygous. It is an individual which contain identical alleles. And the term homozygous is a pure for a trait of character, like homozygous tall and homozygous dwarf. And next term is heterozygous. Heterozygous. So heterozygous, it is an individual which contain non-identical alleles. Non-identical alleles. Like capital T and small t. So this is heterozygous tall. It appeared tall, but internally the genetic constitution is different. So one T is capital and one T is small, but here the capital T is dominant over small t. That's why it is able to express itself, but it is unable to express itself. And this type of individuals is known as heterozygous. It is an individual which contain non-identical alleles like capital T and small t, heterozygous tall. Next important term is F1 generation. Next important term is F1 generation. So what is F1 generation? It is first filial generation. Filia and philus. Filia means son, philus means son, and philus means daughter according to Greek language. So F1 generation means the first generation. For example, this is one parent and this is another parent. Both are crossed, then they produce so different types of individuals like this. And these individuals are in first generation, first filial generation. They are in for F1 generation. So first filial generation is known as F1 generation. Next important term is F2 generation. So F2 generation means this is second filial generation. Second filial generation. So second filial generation is usually obtained from a cross between hybrid and one of the parent. For example, the F1 generation crossed self-fertilized, then it produced some of the gametes and it also produced gametes. When these two gametes are placed, then it produced some of the offspring, and these offsprings are usually in F2 generations. So F1 generation means first filial generation and F2 generation means it is second filial generation. Next important term is, all these terms you must know about, all these terms are useful in the later topics of this chapter. And next important term is dominant. So what is dominant? In heterozygous condition. In heterozygous condition, one allele is able to express itself, and the allele which is able to express itself, then it is known as dominant. In heterozygous condition only. In homozygous condition both are dominant. It may be. But in heterozygous condition, the allele or the trait which is able to express itself, then that trait is known as dominant. And next one is recessive. So what is recessive? In F1 generation or in heterozygous condition, the trait or allele which is unable to express itself, then it is known as recessive. It is known as recessive. What is dominant? In heterozygous condition, the trait which is able to express itself is known as dominant, and the trait which is unable to express itself is known as recessive. Next character is phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic ratio. So what is phenotypic ratio? It is the external appearance. For example, if you take homozygous tall plant crossed with homozygous dwarf plant, then it produces different gametes. It will also produce gametes. They are crossed to produce, and these gametes are placed here, and these gametes are placed in this here. So there here it is the calculation of probability. So there are some important offsprings obtained in this condition. And here this is a tall, this is also tall, this is also tall, this is also tall. The external appearance, the external morphological characters, or the external appearance of an individual. The external appearance of an individual is known as phenotypic ratio. Next one is genotypic ratio. Genotypic ratio. So what is genotypic ratio? This is the genetic constitution. It is the genetic constitution of an individual. The genetic constitution of an individual is known as genotypic ratio. For example, this is capital T, it is tall. Capital T, small t, it is also tall. This is tall plant, this is tall plant, but the genes of these two plants are different. This is capital T, but this is capital T, small t. So these are the two different types of genetic constitution. This is the genotypic ratio of this plant, and this is the genotypic ratio of this plant. So what is genotypic ratio? It is the genetic constitution. The genetic constitution of an individual is known as genotypic ratio. Genotypic ratio. Next important term is Punnett square. Next one is Punnett square. So it is checkerboard. And Punnett square means it is checkerboard. So it was developed. The Punnett square was developed by Reginald C. Punnett. So after his name, and this genetic cross is also, this table is also known as Punnett square. So what is Punnett square? It is this is the Punnett square. What is Punnett square? It is the genetic cross in which in this condition in Punnett square, it is the calculation of probability of all possible genotypes of a character in a genetic cross. It is the calculation. It is the calculation to the probability of all possible genotypes in a genetic cross is known as Punnett square. In the Punnett square, the possible gametes are written in two rows. This is right row and this is left column. It is usually male gametes. So male gametes are usually written on right row, and female gametes, usually female gametes are written in left column. So what is Punnett square? Simply it is checkerboard. It is a genetic cross. It is the calculation of probability of all possible genotypes in a genetic cross. And male gametes, for example, this is male organism, and this male organism produces two gametes, capital T and capital D. Then these two gametes, they are placed in a right row. For example, this is female organism and it produces two gametes. Then these two gametes, they are placed in a left column. Then here we calculate the probability, like capital T, small t. This is tall organism. Again capital, because it is dominant, it is recessive. That's why the dominant rate written is initial. So like this. This is the calculation of possibility of all genotypes in a genetic cross. That is nothing but Punnett square. It was developed by Reginald C. Punnett. He is a British geneticist. Next important term is reciprocal cross or reciprocal inheritance. Next important term is reciprocal cross. So what is reciprocal cross? It is a second cross. It is a second cross of same parents. It is a second cross of same parents in which sexes of parents reversed. Sexes of parents are reversed. For example, this is one parent. For example, this is male parent and this is female parent. Then the same individuals, when it is taken as female and when it is taken as male, then this cross is known as reciprocal cross. So that's why it is known as, it is the second cross of same parents in which sex of the parents are reversed. That type of cross or that type of inheritance is known as reciprocal cross or reciprocal inheritance. Now we will discuss another important term, that is test cross. So what is test cross? It is a cross between F1 hybrid of unknown genotype with recessive parent. It is a cross between F1 hybrid of unknown genotype with recessive parent is known as test cross. In test cross, there are two possibilities. The first possibility is a cross between F1 hybrid of unknown genotype with dominant violet flower. So we are calculated the probability of possible genotypes in a Punnett square. So F1 hybrid, it is a F1 hybrid crossed with dominant violet flower. So this is the genotype of dominant violet flower. Then F1 hybrid crossed with dominant hybrid flower, or here a cross between, the first possibility is a cross between dominant violet flower and pure recessive white flower. So this is the genotype of white flower. Now we will take gametes. What are the gametes? Capital W, one gamete, and another capital W is second gamete. Here small w and small w. Now we will calculate the probability. Capital W and small w, this is violet flower because the capital W is dominant over small w. Capital W represents violet, small w represents white. So here violet character dominant over white color. Here also capital W, small w. This is also violet flower. Same capital W, small w. It is also violet flower. This is also capital W and small w. This is also violet flower. So in this case, 100% flowers are they are violet. In first condition, in first possibility of test cross, 100% flowers will be violet. The second possibility, it is a cross between F1 hybrid of violet flower of unknown genotype. Second possibility is F1 hybrid of violet flower crossed with pure recessive white flower. So hybrid is capital W, small w, violet. But these genotypes, we did not know the genotype of this hybrid plant. And this is small or recessive white flower. So this is the second possible. Again with the help of Punnett square we can find out the probability of possible genotypes. So capital W and small w and small w. So capital W, small w, it is violet flower. Capital W and small w, it is again violet flower. Here small w and small w. This is what? This is pure recessive white flower, because small w recessive white flower. Here also small w and small w, it is again white flower. It means in second possibility 50% are violet flower and 50% were white flowers. That means what is the use of test cross? In that case, the F1 hybrid of violet flower of unknown genotype, that is heterozygous. If it is heterozygous violet flower, then there is a possibility to obtain white flowers. If it is homozygous violet, then 100% will be violet, but here 50% violet and 50% white. It means the F1 hybrid of violet flower of unknown genotype, that is in heterozygous condition. So what is the use of test cross? So test cross is used to organism whether it is heterozygous or homozygous. It is used to study the genotype of genotype of an individual, or it may be heterozygous or homozygous. It is study of an organism whether it is heterozygous or homozygous. That is the use of test cross. And test cross usually it is of three types. Test cross is of three types: monohybrid test cross, dihybrid test cross, and trihybrid test cross. First one is monohybrid test cross. In test cross, the definition is common. What is the definition? It is a cross between F1 hybrid of unknown genotype with recessive parent. In monohybrid, dihybrid, trihybrid, the process is same. But here, the monohybrid test cross, it is used to study the inheritance of only single trait. It is the inheritance of single trait. In a monohybrid test cross, the ratio is 1:1. The 1:1 is the ratio of monohybrid test cross. And second one is dihybrid test cross. So it is the test cross, it is used to study the inheritance of two characters or two pairs of characters. And the ratio of dihybrid test cross is 1:1:1:1. And next one is trihybrid test cross. So in trihybrid test cross, it is used to study the inheritance of three pairs of characters. The ratio of trihybrid test cross 1:1:1:1 whole square. Means 1:1:1:1:1:1:1:1. 8 ones. So these are the three different types of test crosses. So test cross is very important for both objective and subjective exams. Now last important term, that is back cross. Last one is back cross. So it is a cross between F1 hybrid. It is a cross between F1 hybrid with any one of the two parents. Any one of the two parents. For example, this is capital T, tall plant. It is crossed with dwarf plant. Then it produces capital T, then it produces small t. Then it produces a F1 hybrid. This is capital T, small t. If this hybrid crossed with this dominant parent, then it is said to be back cross. And if it is crossed with this parent, then also it is said to be back cross. So here also there are two possibilities. When it is crossed with this dominant parent, then 100% plants will be tall. When this hybrid crossed with this parent, then 50% plants will be tall and 50% plants will be dwarf. For example, in first cross, so this is the first cross. This is the first cross. And if you calculate the probability of genotypes, you must use the Punnett square. Then capital T, small t, capital T, small, because these two are the gametes of this parent, these two are the gametes of this parent. Then we find out the probability. Capital T, it is a tall plant. Then capital T, it is also tall plant. Then capital T, small t, it is also tall plant, but heterozygous but tall plant. Capital T, small t. That means 100% plants will be tall in first condition. In second condition, when F1 hybrid crossed with recessive parent like this one, then again with the help of Punnett square, we can find out the probability. Capital T, small t, these are the gametes of this parent. Small t and small t, these are the gametes of this parent. Then capital T, small t, tall. Capital T, small t, again tall plant. Small t, then it is a dwarf plant. Then again small t, again dwarf plant. Here 50% plants will be tall and 50% plants will be dwarf. So it is the two possibilities of backcross. So what is the use of backcross? Backcross is used, usually it is used in plant breeding technique. It is usually used in plant breeding technique, because in plant breeding technique, when the hybrid is crossed with either of the parents, then parental characters are gradually diluted. If they are diluted, then if backcross is performed, then the parental characters again restored. So these are some important terms which are useful later in this chapter. In the next video, we will discuss the main topics of first chapter, that is principles of inheritance and variation, that is regarding Mendel. So then monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross. So in monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross, these all the terms are useful for us.